welcome back to the channel, etc. Hello to new subscribers, thank you for those. I'm a very small channel at the moment, so thank you for everyone who's subscribing and liking and all those things. Right, standard YouTube warnings out the way. Yeah, welcome to my little saw shop repair area where I keep a lot of my saws. I've done a few cutting videos lately, mainly running in saws that I have worked on and rebuilt. Nearly all the saws I get are blown up and then I rebuild them and then I enjoy running them. So what I wanted to do really is introduce the next saw that I'm going to be pulling apart and rebuilding. It's a running saw though, rather than a complete scrap rebuild. While I was here, what I thought I would do would just show you some of the saws I've got around. See, maybe you can comment or say do some work on that stuff, or we want to see some more on that saw, or yeah, can't wait for you to get to that. So yeah, I'm just going to grab some saws. So these saws here I'm going to talk about a bit more in depth in a minute. So I've got this, you might not have, there is a quick cutting video with this up. This is a 390, which is, was crushed. I bought it crushed. It runs, but not very well. It doesn't idle. Sometimes it starts and runs okay, and sometimes it doesn't. Everybody will be screaming crank seals at me. I did a crank seal test on it in the week, and they seem to be fine. Crank seals on these are odd. They're inside the bearings, so if the crank seals are gone on these and the 385s, you have to split the cases. So yeah, weird one, but I'm trying to get that one running because I really want to get cutting with that, because I kind of think it might be one of the best saws on that chassis ever. This saw you know really well. This is the 372 that I've been doing loads with and doing the square filing on. This has got a cheap 76mm kit in it. I've explained loads about that on the channel, but yeah, that's still here and that's still going. I'm going to go down a theme of saws now and see if you can work out what the theme is. This saw, you should know, I've done a few videos with this one. This is a X-Torq 365. Which I bought a pair of these, and one I sold to my friend in Scotland, Graham, and I made them like sister saws. So base gasket delete, the basic set of mods that I think work really well on nearly any saw, great way to wake up any saw. Base gasket delete, open up the exhaust, and on these I did Walt at Fleet Command, who's a brilliant channel. I did his sort of basic set of mods, so there's loads of work you can do just on the lower transfers to get them to flow better. Did that. You can take a little bit off the back of the piston just to give it a little bit more intake timing. So just did some very simple basic mods to this, and it absolutely rips. Not to be confused with the pre-X-Torq saws. These are very different. They're a stratified saw, so that you have fresh air going through them. They're 70cc, not 72. Very, very different saw, but rips. It really rips, this thing. So yeah, so I've done the big bore 372. I've done that one, which is now a 372 because I've ground out the transfers as well. That's the only difference between an X-Torq 365 and an X-Torq 372. Let me check your recording still. Good, you are. Yeah, the only difference is the transfers have got those little webs in. Totally the same saw apart from that. So if you want a 372 X-Torq on the cheap, buy a 365 X-Torq and grind the transfers out. So I've got some saws here that are going to be, one of these is the next one I'm going to work on, my next sort of project saw. So I've just got this out because it completes the family really. If you know your saws, what I've got here is two red saws on the same chassis really. So this is a Jonsered 2171, which is a red 372 XP really. So if you want a 372 XP and you can't find one for sale, it's worth looking for a 2171. 2172 is a different saw, that is an X-Torq. So yeah, operator presence lever is broken on this one. So yeah, this runs, but it's a good saw, but it's a bit tired. But it's stone stock. So I'm sort of keeping that as my stock 372 chassis saw for the moment. This saw and this saw are exactly the same. So I'm going to pick this one up first. So this is, if you ever see these for sale, these do pop up for sale cheap, and they are a mega saw. This is a 365 special. So they're exactly the same as a 372 really. The only difference is instead of a 52mm piston, it's got a 48mm piston. Sorry, instead of a 50mm piston, 48mm piston. So slightly smaller bore, but brilliant. They don't suffer much for it. And a lot of people say, actually, they're arguably better because, of course, the smaller the bore, the slightly bigger the transfers can be. So 365 special, brilliant saw. This actual saw is my first big saw. I just had 50cc saws before. I had some big stuff to cut down. Bought this 24-inch bar, which my local dealer said to me was too big for a 365 special. Still a 5 horsepower saw. And I've done loads of work with this, but it's kind of like it could be more. Now I've used a lot more of the big saws. So it's still got a good bit of pop to it. Now I'm used to the bigger saws a lot more, and I run the bigger saws more regularly. I just really want to make this rip, and especially after that, the 266, well, it's a 61, but with a 266 top end on. That runs so well now. I'd like to see what this does, because these are hotter than a 266 standard. So yeah, I'll just put that on the floor for a minute, because this saw is a red one of those really. So this is standard, that saw is completely stock at the moment. And this is just the red version. So Jonsered 2165, lighting's not very good, but there you go. A 2165, and this one being a 2171, exactly the same chassis, slightly different top cover. This is a red 365 special basically. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna turn this around. So my favourite suite of mods, I wouldn't say I was a crazy porter doing all the black art. I mean, porting really is like the cam timing on an engine really. You're changing the power characteristics. I don't really like to mess about with the power characteristics too much, but I like to make the most of the saws. So I tend to go pop-up piston, base gasket delete, open up the exhaust, a lot of lower transfer work and a little bit more intake timing, and I find it just wakes them up, but it still keeps them as a nice work saw. Yeah, just really good. I'm sure I'm going to get into much heavier porting eventually. But yeah, on that basis, ages ago when I was ordering a batch of stuff from the States, from Wolf Creek Saw Shop, I ordered this, which is a 48mm. Hopefully you can see that there. That is a 48mm pop-up. Can you see the pop-up? I don't know. Maybe. 48mm, oh there you go, yeah. So there's a little pop-up in that which just raises compression. Cable rings, because I always had it in mind that I was going to give this saw, my old sort of hard-working 365, I was going to give that a bit of a birthday. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that pop-up piston in there. I'm going to open up the exhaust, leave the base gasket out. I'm not sure I'm going to do it as another video or if I'm going to put it on the end of this one, but what I'll do is I'll do a compression test on that, show the numbers, and I'll show how to check squish, because obviously if you're going to do a base gasket delete, you just need to check what your squish is to check that you're not going to go below that magic kind of 20 thou of squish. Excuse me. So yeah, that's going to be the next one I'm going to fiddle about with. So I think really give us some questions. I'm going to try and do a few videos in a row on that maybe. If there's anything you want me to go through while I'm there, let me know. Really easy saws to take apart. So yeah, if you've got one, or you buy a blown up one, or you've seen one, yeah, maybe that'll be useful to you. So pop-up piston, I'll do a little bit of a change on the transfer ports, what's called the Farmer Jones mods, and open up, and they really, every saw I've ever done that to, they really sing. So I'm really excited about how this is going to come out. So yeah, I think I'll stop boring you. If you've made it this far, well done. Oh, the other saw, just as a thing, this is one of my other project saws that I've picked up that I'm going to start working on as well. A bit of a legend 100cc saw, if you know what this is, a 2100 CD. So this is the predecessor to the 395, 394. So big 100cc, 7 horsepower, big old logging saw. This one has a scored piston. I need to take it apart and see if the cylinder is scored as well, because I found a man who I can buy an air cover off, and I need to know if I need to buy a cylinder from him as well. So I want to get this running and cutting. But what a beast, I'm excited. I'm really pleased just to own that, really. It's one of those real legend saws that people come. So that'll be coming up as well. That and the 390, and then, well, just let me know. Just while we're here and we're talking about projects, I've also got this, which is a 6400 again, which is blown up. It's so people ask me about buying saws. So if you go to buy a saw, grab it by the starter handle, and if when you let go of it, if it just falls to the floor like that, it's got no compression. So yeah, that's a really simple way to test compression. But this saw is obviously blown up. I'm gonna try and put one of the big bore top ends on this. So I want to put one of the 54mm top ends on this, which makes it 85cc. So it'll go from 65 to 85cc, and effectively be a big bore 7900 then. And I can run it against my other 7900, which is over here. So yeah, this saw's been on the channel quite a bit with its 26-inch bar at the moment. So yeah, I can run a big bore 7900 against a stock one, which I think could be fun. So yeah, let me know. These are the things we've got around and coming up. Thanks for watching, I guess. Loving the UK group on Facebook as well. You guys are really cool. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. See you on the next video. Give us a subscribe, and then you'll know when I put the first part of this series up. Cheers.